It's Mac and Perry in the place. Da-na-na-na. Mac and Perry
go live to create.
Da-na-na-na. Mac and Perry invite you to stay. Welcome to TELUS STORYHIVE On Location here at 5th Avenue United Church in Medicine Hat. I'm Michael.
I'm Daniel, and this is
Robert Weissmann.
So thanks so much for meeting with us, Robert. I'm really interested to learn about you and your artistic practice. And we're going to play some kind of get-to-know-you games, but to start, what is your artistic practice? What do you do?
I work with glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what sort of glass?
I do stained glass. I do sculptures with glass. Doesn't sound like much, but there's a lot there.
There's a lot, and I know we'll get into it, but like the pieces behind us here are you've worked on, so there is lots to talk about for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So to start, we do a segment with our icebreaker games, just to get to know you a little bit. So we'll ask you some questions we'll do some trivia, and then ask you just some general questions, not about your artistic practice, but just you as a person. And we'll answer too, and it'll be fun. Yeah, so the first one we do is a little bit of trivia, very simple Medicine Hat trivia. How are you at trivia, Robert?
Well, we're going to find out.
We're going to find out, yeah. We also have some questions about us, so it'll be fine. Okay, we'll find an easy one. What's a good one? All right, let's try this one. So Medicine Hat is halfway between A, Lethbridge and Moose Jaw. Is it halfway between Vancouver and Winnipeg? Is Medicine Hat halfway between Edmonton and Bozeman, Montana, or south? Or between Alaska and South Carolina? If you had to guess of like how...
I would say the first one.
First one? So Lethbridge and Moose Jaw?
Yeah.
Not quite.
Really?
It was Vancouver and Winnipeg, actually. It's halfway. Vancouver, Winnipeg. It's a fact. That is a fact about Medicine Hat. Yeah, simple. That's the only Medicine Hat question.
I failed.
No, you didn't fail. No. It's a hard one, kind of. We also have some trivia that we prepared for you to ask us. And that's just these ones right here.
Okay.
If you're wanting to try that.
Sure.
So the first one, you'll be asking me about Daniel.
Okay. Daniel lived near and attended which church growing up in Birmingham, England? A, St. Lawrence Church. B, St. Gabriel's Church. C, St. Christopher's Church. D, St. John's Church.
Wow, we don't usually talk about that. This is a new topic. So I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and say C. What was C?
No.
Not C. What was it?
Another? It was A, St. Lawrence Church.
Okay. All right, well, now I know. Yeah. Great, yeah. I guess, would you be up for one more Medicine Hat trivia?
Sure.
All right, well, yeah, I'll see one more. I thought we'd go back and forth. Real simple. What would be good? I mean, maybe an old historic building, perhaps, you might know a little about, maybe. So the oldest historic building in Medicine Hat is A, the Ewart Duggan House, B, the Brown Durand Residence, C, the Canadian Pacific Railway Station, or D, the Cecil Hotel, if you had to guess. Oldest one.
B.
B, the Brown Durand Residence. That was in 1912 that opened. It's actually the Ewart Duggan House, which was in 1887.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right by the Esplanade there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
stuff
now I promise that's
stuff I'm learning today.
right. That's the last trivia question from me. But we have one more. This is the one that I wrote for Daniel, and that he has to answer.
Okay. I spent time on the West Coast doing glasswork. While in art school, Michael went on a trip to the West Coast for his theater studies. While there, he took part in what class? A, an opera singing class. B, an improv class. C, a puppeting class. And D, a clowning class.
Oh my gosh. I know you've done some of those things before, but I'm not sure about in that context. What were the first two again?
An opera singing class and an improv class.
I know Michael loves improv. I'm going to take a shot in the dark and go for improv. Is that right?
You know what? He didn't give me the right answer.
It's an improv class.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the highlighted one. Yeah, you
Oh.
got it right, Daniel. Improv class.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it was a really fun workshop, and I do enjoy improv, so good good call on that one.
Did you do any opera while you were there?
No, that was just to throw him off.
Okay.
No, yeah, we went to Schmanis Theater. This was a number of years ago, but no opera. Yeah, unfortunately. Great. Yeah. So the next segment. Next game is called This or That, and we pull questions out of a hat. They're very simple questions. It's coffee or tea, cats or dogs. Yeah, and then you just answer like, oh, I'm a coffee person, or I'm a dog person, or neither.
All right.
So I will pull the first one out. Let's see, what do we have? This is a nice one. Time or money? Which would you rather have?
Time.
Me too. Yeah, I think time for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll take some time and think about that. Daniel, what would you rather have, time or money?
Yeah, I would go with time. Money is a tool. It is useful, but I think time is incredibly precious, and I'm realizing that more and more as I grow up. So yeah, I would go with time for sure.
All right, we're all in agreement on time.
And use it wisely.
Use it wisely to make money. Oh, no, yeah. Did you want to try pulling one out of the
Well,
hat?
if I could read one.
If you can read it. If not, you can give it to me and I'll read it.
Okay.
I just like to share. It's all crinkled,
Of course.
right?
Spotlight or spectator?
Nice. Yeah, for me, being an actor by training, yeah, I generally prefer the spotlight. Yeah, even though I'm more of an introverted person, I do find being on stage, being in front of people, I find them very comfortable. It can be very natural. So yeah, I would say spotlight for me. How about you?
Oh, probably spectator.
Yeah. Any particular things you like to, like events or things you like to be a spectator of?
I like music.
Music, okay.
So if that's what I really miss here, is that there's no symphony or, good jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. I know they had a jazz fest. I think it was in the summer.
That's right.
Did you check it out?
That's right. I did.
Yeah.
I did check it out.
How was it?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
More music on, like, I know you were on the West Coast for a time, or Toronto. I know.
Yeah. Well, on Salt Spring, there's a lot of musicians there, and there's a little restaurant downtown that's like an open restaurant, and that's where everybody plays. So you might get Randy Bachman playing one time, or
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of good music there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You kind of missed that here, hey? A little bit.
Yeah.
You can find it if you look for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Maybe I'll throw it to Daniel if he feels like it. For spotlight or spectator.
I would go spectator. My parents would always tell me when I was a kid I was always very observant, which is a bit ironic given that I am an actor by trade. But yeah, I just love taking time to observe. I think it's a skill that maybe people don't do so much nowadays. And so I try and, utilize that when I can. And,
Nice. Cool. Nice. All right, well, let me do a couple more of these before we move on. Next one. Tea or coffee? What's your drink of choice?
Tea.
Yeah?
Yep.
What kind of tea do you like to drink?
Orange Pico.
Orange Pico. Nice. Well, I'm on the opposite side. I'm a coffee drinker. It's never loved tea myself. So let's love coffee in the morning. Dark coffee. Yeah.
There you have it.
There we go. There we have it. All right. We'll do one more. How about I'll give you the honors, Robert. Pull one out.
Wine or beer?
Yeah, I would say I'm more of a wine person. I think it's quite nice, during a meal. Yeah, I never really got into beer myself, so red wine, pretty solid choice. But I'm not like a, connoisseur by any means. I just drink whatever's available. And yourself?
I don't drink alcohol.
No? Okay, so neither of those, yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay, yeah. That's all good, yeah. Maybe I'll throw it to Daniel, why not? Daniel, do you have a preference, wine or beer?
I would be in the same boat. Wine, yeah. Nice glass with a meal. Yeah.
Guinness, you don't want a Guinness now and again?
I do enjoy Guinness. That's like the British in me, although it's Irish. But anyway, yeah, that would be the beer of my choice. But otherwise, wine.
Nice. Great, all right. All right, well, that would be the this or that game.
I got a question.
Okay, go ahead, yeah.
So you're from Birmingham, and you live near St. Lawrence. I think I was in that church this summer.
Really?
Yeah, I was in Birmingham.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 14 when we moved, so I would have been going there before then. So it's been a while for me, and I've only been back once, and we didn't make it back to that area.
Yeah.
It was just to visit family. But yeah, what were your thoughts in that space? What did you think of? I do distinctly remember the windows in that space being absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
I go into those cathedrals and I walk around, and my first question is always, how did they build them?
Right?
You figure some of these places are from the 12th, 13th century. They didn't have the tools we have today, and they built these. Fantastic.
And they're still standing.
And they're still standing. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and how would they restore the windows? And this is not the segment, but in those old spaces, I feel like they have to do a lot more.
Oh yeah, I mean,
to get them out of
if
the.
I had lived in England, I would have been busy for my entire career.
Yeah.
There's so many.
That too.
Yeah.
Even just how old they might be too, right?
Oh yeah. Some of the windows, I saw some windows from the 12th century, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And basically, they're made the same way as they are today. Really? Tool-wise and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. Yeah. I think we could I'd love to cover that more in our interview or the showcase. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Normally we move on to our tumbling towers game.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the last one we'll force you to do. So this game, if you've played the Tumbling Towers game before?
No.
No? Okay. Yeah, so it has these blocks here,
Right.
and then you just see if there's a loose one. Oh,
Yeah.
look, a loose one. That's
Yeah.
not great. Find a better one. That ones look better. And so you pull it out, and the game is just not to have it fall over.
Right.
That's happened once before.
Okay.
But, and then you just put it on top. And then it's but we made it more fun because we have numbers for each tile. There's 54 tiles, and each tile has a question on it.
Oh.
Yeah, so then it's but these are more open-ended questions instead of coffee or tea. It's what's your perfect day look like? Or
Okay.
who's someone who inspires you? And so that kind of leads to more conversation. That's the main thing. So I just pulled out 7, so why don't I see what number 7 says? Are you much of a reader, Robert?
Not really.
Okay. Well, this question is, what are you reading right now, or a book that stood out to you in the past?
I'm listening to books now.
That works. What book are you listening to
I'm
right now?
listening to one about Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh yeah.
I know nothing about the man, and so I wanted to learn. So I'm into that.
What have you learned about him?
He had a hard life.
Yeah.
He was an alcoholic. He wrote some fantastic songs. He burned a lot of bridges, and he almost destroyed himself. But he still writes these beautiful songs. A lot of pain in those songs too, but yeah.
A poet, yeah. Nice. Well, I have to check it out. Yeah, it's an audiobook. Does he read the audiobook?
No,
No, they've had
no,
some.
he doesn't.
Okay, that's all right. Sometimes I like it when the artist reads their own.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice, right?
Well, the next one I'm going to read is the new book that Patty Smith just brought out, and she reads it too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice, yeah.
that'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I'm a musician, eh? Great. Nice. Yeah, I guess for me, what am I reading right now? So I'm reading a book on creativity. It's by Philippe Petit. And he was a fellow, maybe you've heard of him, in the 70s. So he's a wire walker, and he crossed the World Trade Center. It was his big thing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so he's a performer, and that was one of his major accomplishments. But it was like he did it like illegally. All his wire walks are illegal, right?
Yeah.
He went across Notre Dame. The book is called Creativity, the Perfect Crime. So it's like he wrote it from his perspective about like how to make creativity kind of like a heist, or like make it like a crime that you're committing that's not a real crime. But what I like about that story was he talks about with any of his walks, like with a crime, you're taking something, but with his performances, he's giving something to people. He's giving them this gift. And so that's how he kind of turns it around, but still very heisty. So.
Right.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's all the time we have for this segment. So we are done with this segment.
All right, folks. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the next segment, but this is all the time we have for On Location through TELUS Storyhive. We're here at Fifth Ave United Church. I'm Michael.
I'm Daniel, and this has been
Robert.
Robert.
Yeah. So we will be right back. Welcome back to TELUS STORYHIVE on location here at Fifth Ave United Church in Medicine Hat. I'm Michael.
I'm Daniel, and this is...
I'm Robert Weissmann.
Great. Yeah, so Robert, I'm really excited to learn about your artistic practice and talk about your glasswork. Yeah, I guess, I know you said at the very beginning, but yeah, maybe just, it'll sound repetitive, but just tell me about your artistic practice generally.
Oh, geez. I've worked with glass for years, and I've tried to use it in as many ways as I possibly can. And it's just, it's a material that I can sculpt, that I can do all kinds of stuff with, you know. I do a lot of kiln work. And I mean, doing that, it's like Christmas every morning. And, you know, I open that lid, and I don't know what I'm going to get. And, you know, I see what's in there. It's just been a really good journey. You know, I've met a lot of people. As I've said, I've like eaten lunch in a lot of churches.
Yeah, no, that's great, and I really want to learn more about the details of it. Yeah, and you've been doing this for over 4 decades, right?
Right.
Yeah. Let's go try to go all the way back. Maybe when you were younger. Yeah, like when did you start kind of like expressing yourself artistically?
One of my dad's brothers, my Uncle Gus, he was a glass master in Toronto, and he taught at the Ontario College of Art. And Gus has done a lot of church windows. I remember spending a weekend with him when I was probably around 14 or so, and we made this like lantern out of glass and resin. And I think that was the first thing I ever did. And I still got it.
Oh, cool.
And then, you know, I was living in a small town in Ontario. There was a night school class at the high school in stained glass, so I took that. I ended up breaking more glass than I could use. And then I was really fortunate a few years later to get an apprenticeship at Luxor Prism Company in Toronto, which was one of the major studios.
Interesting. Yeah. And with the experience with your uncle, like that lantern, yeah, like what was that like first working with glass? Do you remember that experience?
Yeah, it was the color. You know, I was really excited that, you know, you hold up a piece of glass to the light, it's just, it does something to my soul, you know. That piece we made with the glass down and the resin around it, then we took sand to make it look like a lead to darken it in, you know. And I remember carrying those pieces home with me, and I was pretty excited about it. You know.
Yeah, and so were you close with your uncle when growing up? Or?
Maybe not as close as I would have liked to have been, but everything happens the way it happens, right?
Sure, yeah. But I mean, him being like a master glass worker, it's got a...
It's a long story. You know. Yeah. So, being at Luxor for that period of time, I mean, I got to travel all over Ontario, either putting in new windows or taking out windows to restore them. And it was a small studio. There was only about 5 of us there. So eventually you got your hand in everything. You know, and I was so blessed to be able to have the teachers that I had. You know, at the time I didn't think so. I thought, you know, they're pretty tough on me. So it was like, anyways, after 3 years there, myself and one of the other fellows that worked there, we left and started our own company, Reflections Glassworks. That was in Toronto. then we basically just continued doing what we were doing at Luxford. We just all over the place, either subcontracting for other studios or getting the work ourselves. And it was a good run. It was.
And during maybe your apprenticeship or when you had your own first studio, like you said, you had your hand in kind of a bit of everything. Was there something that maybe you enjoyed doing more at that time, that maybe you were more drawn to with glasswork?
I got the opportunity to start to paint on glass, and that was that opens up a whole new ball game. That does. I didn't use that part of my craft very often until the last few years. You know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when you had your own studio, like you're first starting out with that, yeah, what was that like first starting out on your own?
It was exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, just going around to the different wholesalers, you know, trying to get wholesale prices on the glass and the lead, and you know, getting to meet a lot of people. And like I say, we worked in a lot of churches. We did a job at St. Michael's Cathedral in Toronto, and these windows were over a side doorway, and they'd been wooded up for over 200 years. Wow. So when we took the wood off, it was really kind of cool to see out that view that nobody had seen in 200 years. And it had, of course, it had changed, right? Mm. Stuff like that. It was just, I don't know.
Yeah, and yeah, so how long would that project have taken you?
Most projects take probably at least 6 months. Hmm. You know, that was a big job. You know, the windows here, I could probably do one every 2 or 3 weeks. But by then, I knew my trade.
Yeah, I guess like early on, maybe probably lots of learning that went on. And
well, there was, because we got thrown into situations where we had to rely on things that we had been taught. And, you know, you just learn so much by doing, and we were doing a lot. So it was, yeah, it was good.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Is there anything, if you can think, it's been a while, but think back like that maybe you would have learned back at your time in Toronto that was like particularly meaningful or memorable? Hmm. Even like a mistake or like, you know, a bigger project, you went, oh, what have I done?
Yeah, I don't think so, you know. I mean, there's a few windows that are scattered around, you know, Ontario, that if I walked into that church today, my eyes would go straight to a spot that I was going, you know, that could have been a little bit better.
Sure.
But, yeah, we were fortunate. We ended up getting a contract to do windows out of Edmonton to the Lutheran Cathedral there.
Okay.
So, you know, we got to travel a bit.
Oh, so you were still in Toronto at the time and then traveled out to Edmonton?
Yeah.
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 Just for that project? Okay.
Just for that project.
Nice, yeah. What was that trip like?
It was pretty good. You know, big church, lots of windows, but we did the first 4. Hmm. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I guess were there any other things that come to mind for your time in Toronto? You were there for a number of years, right?
I was.
A decade or more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
I would say just the people that I met and the different styles of glass work that I saw. It was always, you know, I remember it and use it eventually. There's just too much,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah. I don't know, so maybe one came to mind, but
nothing special.
okay. And so you talk about the different styles, like maybe we'll talk about it a bit more in the showcase segment, but like would you say you have a particular style of your glasswork that you says that's Robert?
My work is it's pretty organic. It's more on the modern side compared to traditional. I find when I design a window, it comes fast, which I still don't understand, but it does, and it just feels right. I'm not struggling with it. So that's my style.
Nice. Yeah, and I guess so. You're in Toronto. You're from there. You have your studio. You're there for a number of years working. Yeah, what came next in your artistic journey?
I moved to the coast. I moved to Salt Spring Island. There wasn't much glasswork to be done there. And it took quite a while before I got any, and it was in Vancouver. I worked at the cathedral, Catholic Cathedral in downtown Vancouver, restoring windows. I traveled to get work. When I ended up in Victoria, when I moved to Victoria, I was traveling back and forth doing these windows, coming and taking 2 or 3 at a time and taking them back to Victoria and then bringing them back.
Windows from here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Victoria was a good time for me. I got to do 2 new windows, 2 large windows at, I think, Holy Cross Church. And as I said earlier, the design just happened, and I'm really pleased with those windows. Yeah.
And how like compared to other projects you would have done, like what sort of scale was it? Was it a big project?
Yeah. There was the big windows in a diamond shape over the altar, and the problem was like the sun was coming in during Mass and nobody could see.
Okay.
So they wanted to put something there to block the direct sunlight. And there was another one the same size at the other end, at the back. So it was, it was a good project. I really enjoyed that. I got to use a lot of nice glass doing it, and that makes my job that much more satisfying, using good products. It's good.
Yeah. And then like, so are you like, how much choice do you have in like you mentioned the quality of the material when you're, let's say, working for a church, let's say? Do you source that material yourself, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm doing new windows,
Sure.
And the budget's the budget's good, I'll try to use hand blown glass, which now most of it all of it comes from Europe, and it's full of striations and imperfections. So when the light hits it, it dances all over the place. Like these windows, it's all machine made. So when the light hits it, it goes right through it. I mean, it gives color, but it doesn't come alive. So if I get the chance to use antique, I will.
Mhm. And would you have used any of the antique in on your West Coast projects?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I used.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that glass came out of Poland. I don't think they're in existence anymore. The stained glass world has really gotten small.
Hmm.
Everything is so expensive now that most people can't afford to get it done. And because of that, a lot of the manufacturers are gone. You know, so it's getting harder and harder to keep going in it. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like let's say, not to go back too far, but like with your, let's say your time in Toronto, like was that different?
Oh,
Like, there's
yeah.
a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that time, there was Hollander, which was a big wholesaler. I mean, you'd walk in there and there'd just be rows and rows and rows of glass. There were stained glass shops all over the place. There used to be 2 or 3 shops here, and they're gone. Yeah, it's changed so much in the last 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it just like there's less of a demand, or just the suppliers aren't there? Or?
Stained glass is a funny thing. It seems to go like this, and it comes in waves. You know, like it sort of went out of fashion at the turn of the century, and then we get to the 60s and 70s, and all of a sudden it becomes really popular again. And you know, Uncle Bob and Aunt Jean, they're all doing it, right? And that's why all these stores popped up. The closest place I can go here is Calgary. You know, which isn't bad, but still, it's just too expensive. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you would have been more like 80s and on, kind of, is when you were in your career?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where was the wave at? Yes.
Well, lead lasts for about 75 years. And in today's space, it lasts even less, because we've got, like when this church here was built, there weren't as many cars driving by all the time. This big pipe organ hadn't vibrated the windows for years, right? The pollution hadn't affected the lead. And then probably in the 90s, all of these churches had to get their windows restored. It was busy, you know, and yeah, so usually about between 50 and 75 years, the lead starts to break down, the cement breaks down, and you can go up to them and they'll rattle. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess let's go back to the West Coast. You're there. Yeah, I guess were there any other like memorable projects that were happening around that time that you can think of?
No, the West Coast, it really wasn't that busy for me. There was a couple of other stained glass artists in Victoria, and they'd been there for a number of years, and they sort of got everything. So it was a hard gig, and that's why I would take the time to drive here to restore the windows.
Okay, yeah, that was a necessity then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you have bills to pay too.
Fair,
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess we can kind of move on geographically. So I believe the next place you were at was here in Medicine Hat. Yeah, so I guess what brought you to Medicine Hat?
I got married.
Okay.
My wife is from Medicine Hat. And we got married in this church. So I've been here think it's 9 or 10 years. I should know, but
Yeah.
so yeah, that's what brought me here.
Nice. Yeah, and then you're obviously doing glasswork in Medicine Hat. Tell me a bit about that.
Well, I've restored most of these windows. I restored windows at St. Barnabas down the road, St. John's. I did some windows. I did a window for the base out at Suffield for their chapel there. I just finished a project that took a long time to get it together. There used to be an academy here called St. Teresa's, and it was torn down in 74, I think, and they had these huge stained glass windows, and they disappeared. And they were found in Victoria, of all places. And I happened to be there, and I was asked to go and see what shape they were in. And then I heard nothing else, and then I moved back here, and the next thing I know, I'm involved in the windows here. Eventually, they ended up being mine, and now they're 3 of them, the 15-foot tall ones, have been restored, and they're going into a new Catholic school. So that's going to be really cool. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
do you know when that's?
I think it's not until 27.
Okay.
They're just building the school now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw a video that you had posted about that project, and they came from France, if I remember that
They
correctly.
did.
right?
They
Yeah.
came from Reims in France. When my wife and I went to France, I went to the studio, and they were closed for a bank holiday.
Yeah,
Couldn't
course.
believe it.
Yeah.
It's like, really? And we were leaving the next day.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Oh, that's too bad.
it was.
Oh.
It was. I really wanted to talk to them.
Yeah, because that was like in 1914 or something, wasn't it? Like it was a long time ago that
They
they
got here.
originally brought them here.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
1914,
Yeah.
they arrived here. And they stayed there until 74.
And I mean, I don't know if you know much about the history of those pieces, but like, would they have shipped them like as like one piece, or how did that have worked?
What they did was a lot of churches got windows from England or Germany or France. And when they got shipped over in those days, they packed them in grease
Oh.
so they wouldn't break.
Hmm.
I don't know how they shipped the frames over, probably, but they're the original frames too. So, yeah, it's quite a project.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
I was blessed to, a friend of mine basically gave me the studio space. And, had 20-foot tall ceilings so I could actually work on the full windows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause they're, 16 feet. You said, yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and how long has that project taken you?
Well, that's another long story too, but I've been involved with those windows for probably at least 14, 15 years. And they've been moved around a lot, and they've been broken, and it was a real shame what happened with those windows. But now they're back, and they're going to be seen again. Yeah,
No, it's really
pretty
exciting.
exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's something like that, especially like spending that much time with a project. Like, do you have a certain attachment to those windows?
Oh yeah, yeah. I have attachment to every window.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it kind of different, like with these windows, like they're here in this building, but those windows are, they're by themselves. They'll be in a building. Does that change at all? That, like, being without a building, buildingless, orphan windows for now.
Well, they lived in my studio.
Yeah, I guess.
you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I did a lot of work on those windows in that studio. And like I said, I was really blessed to have the height and the space. It was huge. Yeah. So it's I'm just really grateful that the Catholic School Board decided to do something with them, because there was years that nobody wanted them, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them, you know. And I got a phone call one day, and that was that.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what else might you have done with those windows? If
Well, I hate to say it, but they might have ended up in the dump.
yeah.
Nobody wanted them. You know, I didn't have the space to keep them forever, and if anything happened to me,
Yeah.
you know, somebody's got to deal with it.
Yeah.
So it's a real blessing that they're going to be used.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, especially, yeah.
Yeah.
That people will see through them again, yeah. Yeah.
And it's on the same hill that the original cathedral or the academy was on. So
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's really nice.
Oh, that's great, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that's working out, especially after such a long time, and those windows being, you know, in other places, and
Oh, it was a headache.
yeah,
It was.
and coming from France, like that's originally, yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
quite the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, like, were there any other projects or things we'll get into the showcase, you know, for the next segment, so I don't want to get too much into those details, but yeah, any other things around the Medicine Hat area that come to mind that were meaningful?
Probably the windows at St. Barnabas. They were done by a studio in Toronto, McCausland. And I did a lot of subcontracting work for McCausland when I was in Toronto, so it was kind of neat to do another one here. You know, that was a good job.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, you do it, and you know they're going to be standing for at least another, let's say, 75 years, anyways.
Oh, that's great, yeah.
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 The problem is that the everything's dying with, there's nobody doing it. You know, there's me and a couple of other people, and I'm not getting younger.
Yeah.
You know, and there's no more places to apprentice. And unless your studio's really busy, you can't afford to take on people. And I mean, when I'm gone, and when 2 or 3 other people, you know, are gone, who's going to do this? 75 years is going to roll around, and all these windows are going to be, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, it must be tough, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess that just ends this segment on maybe a positive note. I know you have an exhibit coming up, or an exhibit on right now.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that exhibit.
I've got, it's called Between Today and Yesterday, and so I've got a bit of old. I've actually got one of the unrestored sections of the St. Teresa's Academy window in there, and then there's a showcase dedicated to to my kiln work. And there's another showcase with a window I did from glass left over from a big job. And then there's the window that took me quite a bit of time. It's a bunch of windows put together. You have to see it. And, so I used good glass on that, and a lot of it's painted. And I had a blast doing it. You know, it was so much fun. You know,
Nice, yeah.
at this stage of my career or my life, it was pretty exciting. As this is, you know, this is I don't get to do this very often.
Yeah.
Usually I come and I work at a church and I don't talk to anybody, and they don't talk. You know, there's nobody around to talk to. If I'm doing new windows, you know, you put the window in, you go and give them the bill. Nobody says anything, you know, so it's nice to get a little feedback once in a while. Yeah.
Now I'm just filling all the time with all my questions, peppering you with questions. Nice. Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to, I honestly do want to see the exhibit is on now. We're going to check it out next time we're in Medicine Hat. And yeah, and I look forward to learning more about it in maybe the showcase segment, which is coming up next. So yeah, I appreciate the conversation. It's been really nice chatting with you, Robert.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So this has been TELUS Storyhives on location here at the Fifth Ave United Church in Medicine Hat. I'm Michael.
I'm Daniel, and this has been
Robert Weissmann.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hello and welcome once again to TELUS Storyhive's On Location here in Medicine Hat. We are at 5th Ave United Church. I'm Daniel.
I'm Michael, and
I'm
this
Robert.
is...
Yeah. Oh, you got it. It's Robert. It's the third time we're doing it. They know. Awesome. Yeah, and I'm super excited to dive into our showcase with you. We have it in the background. It is setting the scene for us here, which I really appreciate. And yeah, I think where I would love to start is just going back to, in your interview with Michael, you talked about Holy Cross Church and the piece that was in there. And I remember seeing, like, on your Facebook, the thing that really took my imagination is the sheer scale and size of that project. What can you tell me about that, working on that sort of scale? Is that average, or was that unique in that way?
I don't think it's average, but it's probably one of the biggest projects I worked on. And one of the problems I had with doing that window was finding a place where I could actually do that drawing. And I had a friend who, it was during the summertime, and he got me into the University of Victoria, into their sculpting department. And I had a wall that was probably 20 feet tall and a great big ladder on wheels that I could actually go and draw that, right?
Yeah.
But when I did the window, I did it in 4 sections, and it was all done on a light table, because there's a lot of painting involved in it too. But I couldn't see.
The composition.
I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a little bit here, a little bit there. So when it went in, when I installed it, it was basically the first time I ever saw it together.
Yeah.
You know, and thank God it worked out. You know, it looked okay.
Yeah. It sounds incredibly stressful.
Well, it was.
Yeah. And I'm grateful that your friend was able to help source a space for you.
It's great.
Yeah.
You know, it just all, you know, fell into place. And you know, when that happens, it's a wonderful journey.
Yeah, and you mentioned, like, as well in your interview with Michael, just when you are designing a window, that it kind of just comes. It seems like a bit of an intuition thing.
Yeah.
And so I imagine that when that mirrors the process, that is enjoyable as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you struggle, and you know, I walk away 100 times, and then there's the times that it just happens, and those are the magic. Yeah.
And do you remember the kind of timeline of that piece at the Holy Cross Church? How long was that piece? Did that take you? Yeah. Hard question.
Yeah, for the window at the back of the church, it probably took me maybe 2 months.
Right, because there was 2 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was more painting involved. So that takes time, because every time you paint, you got to fire it in the kiln, and so you're waiting for the firing to be finished, which you know, your firing schedule might be 12, 13, 14 hours. So you're dealing with that.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and so just because I know very little, if anything, about glasswork. So firing is one part of the process.
It can be.
It can be, right.
Right.
Okay, and so for that project specifically, it was. What comes before that? If you could outline that for me.
Well, you do first you do your drawing,
Yeah.
which you know, we call a cartoon, and that's what I'm going to cut my glass from.
And that's to scale.
Yes,
I see.
that's the scale.
Yeah.
And so you do that, and then you cut the glass. And then if you're going to paint the window, that's when you paint it. And when that's done, you let it, you cement it, and you put it in.
Let it and cement it? Let it is you
Lead.
just, oh, let it.
Lead.
I see, okay, yeah.
You know, it holds the glass in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And then cement is?
It's a mixture of this and that. But it actually, it's like a consistency of like peanut butter or pablum or something, right? But I use boiled linseed oil, whiting, little Japan hardener. And what it does is it will stiffen the window up. But, I mean, years ago they didn't have storm windows or anything like that, right? So it would waterproof the windows too.
Ah, right. Interesting.
Yeah.
And so,
And it cleans the windows.
and it cleans them. Interesting. And so is that all sort of stuff that you would have learned in your apprenticeship, or is that kind of
Yeah.
compounded over all in the apprenticeship? Yeah.
The tools and the methods of working with glass haven't changed at all, really. You know, you've got your glass cutter, your pliers, and a hammer, and your hands.
Right.
Most important tool, right?
Yeah.
And it's been that way for 1,000 years. You know, so.
And I have so many questions about those specific steps in that, so I'll try and keep those in the back of my brain. But on that last note, what does that mean to you? What does it feel like to work in a craft that is that old? What does that mean to you?
I love it.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of me. It's just part of me.
And I know towards the end of your interview with Michael, there was that notion of, you know, what's going to happen to the craft after people like yourself, and what are your feelings about that? I don't know. It seems, I'm not one to like shy away from those conversations, so I don't know if you have any thoughts that you would like to share on that. But is there any hope? What do you think?
I don't think so. You know, and it's a real shame that that everything just became money, and that you know, there really isn't a place to go and learn the craft the way I was taught. Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen again. And like I said, you know, I mean, I've tried to teach my grandkids.
Yeah.
You know, hoping one of them would go, hey, yeah, I want to do this.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh,
but I mean, I still enjoy teaching. There's a class maybe coming up over at the Esplanade, and I love sharing it. You know, there's not a lot of people for me to talk to about my passion, and so when I get the opportunity to talk to people like yourselves or to teach, I get to share my experience, you know, and I think that's important.
Yeah. And has there been any certain reactions, like from a class, like students, to any sort of reactions to your work? Do they get to see your work? Like,
Sometimes it depends, you know, where I'm living at the time and how, you know, where my studio is, and you know, I just love the look on people's faces, and they go, and they break a piece of glass, and they're just like, wow, you know, I did that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's it's cool.
Interesting. Yeah, because I mean, what that brings to mind for me is just that idea of like, it sounds as though there is some sort of repetition to the work, like those actions and stuff, and yet somehow there's like magic in it still, depending on the color or the shapes that you're going for, the overall design. So just that, I love that balance between monotony maybe, or ordinary, and then it's also extraordinary and still creative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, even those windows for the St. Teresa's Academy that I worked on, you know, it's one thing to work on them on the bench, and then, you know, when you can put them up on an easel in a large window and see them, it's like it comes alive, right? You know.
And even that, even that transition from the easel in the workshop light, I have to imagine, and you say, like you said, like especially the, what did you call it, when it has all the stuff in the glass that makes it dance?
Well, the striations.
Striations, there you go.
Yeah.
And just that transition from still the easel into the actual space, I imagine, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's the movements you do when you're picking your glass too, right?
Okay.
And you pull it out of the racks and you hold it up at a window, and you can move it around to see how it's working. That can be pretty exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if you got some really nice glass.
Yeah, and you've mentioned nice glass. What goes into nice glass specifically? Hand blown, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Is there specific materials that are different than maybe mass manufactured glass?
Well, it's the colors. It's the colors that they can get. And you know, if you hold up a sheet of antique glass, the thickness is going to vary too.
Right,
Because
in
it's
one
not-
sheet.
Yeah, because it's not machine made where they're all the same, right?
Yeah.
So you get colors blending too. You know, you might have a blue, but then it comes into a lighter shade as it goes through the glass. So you get to use that in your design.
And that is fascinating because, yeah, going back to the step-by-step process of doing the cartoon, and then the next thing is cut it,
Yep.
and then the coloring.
The coloring's already happened.
The colorant has already happened, right?
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I thought you add
No.
color. Interesting. So yeah, you're cutting the glass based on the color that has already been added
Yes.
in the making of the glass.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for that piece of the Holy Cross, there was lots of blues for sure.
Right.
So I'm like, do you recall how many different sheets of glass you would have had to
do
cut?
that
Even
project?
approximately, yeah. Like, yeah.
Well, let me see. The sheets are probably, say, 2 feet by 3 feet.
Okay.
So I probably use at least 20, at least.
Yeah. And do you feel as though is resourcefulness a thing in this craft? Are you trying to use every bit that you can? Is there a bit of waste? Yeah.
Try to. I mean, I got boxes at home full of stuff. But I say, well, you know, I may use this on a project. You never do.
All right.
Never do.
Yeah. Interesting. Maybe use it in classes for classes to work on.
Yeah.
Nice. Interesting. And the leading, so after the firing has happened, the leading is, forgive me if this is a stupid question. There's no stupid questions, but leading is straight up lead?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And what's it like working with that and these materials? Like,
that's part of it.
this is part of it, hey?
You know, it's in the shape of an H. So one piece of glass sits here and one piece of glass sits there, right?
Okay.
And that's basically it. You can get different widths.
Okay.
But even that's starting to get hard to find too. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I recall, it might have been in your interview with Michael, but I'm curious about, does that restrict your creativity or does that provide structure? And I think I recall hearing you talk about how you can actually get creative with the lead as well.
Yeah. You know, to me, the lead's got to tell a story too, because at nighttime, there's no color, but there's still the lead lines.
The lead lines.
You know, so yeah, it's important too. You know, a lot of times using different thicknesses of leads, you know, gives you different dimensional
impacts.
yeah.
And just to kind of round off here, I just that sentiment of telling a story. I'm really curious if you just have any sort of last notions on that in this craft specifically, because I think it's really interesting, and I think that potentially it may be taken for granted. Just the idea that you are actually telling a story with your work here, and it lasts a considerable amount of time, and that it also needs maintenance, right? And to be restored, and just, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, originally, I mean, stained glass was to tell stories.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
They had the saints, or, you know, whatever. And it was because people couldn't read.
Right. Yeah.
So they would look at the windows, and there's where the stories were. And I mean, that continues to today, that most windows done for churches, there's a story behind them. You know, it's there's stories behind my windows too, but it's not as obvious as, you know, Jesus knocking at the door. So it's
yeah. A bit more subtle, and
yeah, you know.
Beautiful. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I do think that's all the time we have for this segment.
Okay.
So I really appreciate your insight. Yeah, it's been awesome. So yeah, this
Thank
is
you.
the Windy City's finest on location, courtesy of TELUS STORYHIVE in Medicine Hat, and we are at 5th Avenue United Church. And I'm Daniel.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Robert.
And this is Robert. Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in.